Welcome to another edition of Atlanta Live. It's a great night in Atlanta, and I'm so glad you're tuning in wherever you're watching. It's going to be a great show tonight. My name is Jeremy, and this is my co-host, my beautiful wife, Mrs. Georgia, Katlyn.
Yes, we are so excited about our amazing guests tonight. We have some awesome worship from Cheryl, who you are going to get to hear in just a few moments. And we have some incredible guests. Tell us about those guests.
Well, we got Travis Rutland with Global Servants and Timothy Parsons with Global Servants. And those are some great guys. We were getting to know them a little bit before the show. And then we have another group of people who are going to be first. Yes,
so if you want to hear all about marriage and building that up, we have Antonio and Linda Lee. And so tonight I encourage you to check your local listings, share this on Facebook, WATC.tv. Tune in, share this on Facebook, like it, and now we get to hear some incredible music tonight by Cheryl, Boggs, Some Trust.
But I'll only trust in the name of the Lord, 'cause in Him I live, in Him I move, in Him I have my being, I shall not be moved. I will trust in the Lord, trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord, yeah. Some trust in silver and some trust in gold, but I'll only trust in the name of the Lord. In Him I live, in Him I move, in Him I have my being, I shall not be moved. I will trust in the Lord. Every day I will trust in the Lord. You can't make me doubt Him, no. I'm gonna trust in the Lord. Hey, 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 hey. I'm gonna trust Him. I'm gonna trust Him. I'm gonna trust Him. Trust Him, yeah. I'm gonna trust Him. Jesus. I'm gonna trust Him. Put my trust. I'm gonna put my trust in Him. Jesus. I'm gonna trust Him. I know too much about Him. I'm gonna trust Him. Jesus. I'm gonna trust Him. You can't make me doubt Him, no. Some trust in silver, some trust in gold. I'll only trust in the name of the Lord. In Him I live, and in Him I move. It's in Him I have my being. I shall not be moved. I will trust in the Lord. Oh yes, I will. I'm gonna trust in the Lord with my life and with my future. I'm gonna trust in the Lord. I'm gonna trust Him. I'm gonna trust Him. I'm gonna trust Him. Now you said trust Him. I'm gonna trust Him. Trust Him. I'm gonna trust Him. With my life, with my future. I'm gonna trust Him. Jesus. I'm gonna trust Him. Every day I'm gonna put my trust in Him. I'm gonna lean on Him. Jesus. Yeah. Some trust in silver, some trust in gold. I'll only trust in the name of the Lord. In Him
Wow, what a powerful, powerful song. You know, I believe that there are some of you tuning in tonight who you're dealing with a lot of situations in your life, but that is such a great reminder that if we just trust God, He really will do what Romans 8:28 says. He works all things together, not one thing, not two things, all things together for our good and His glory. And so if you know somebody who may need to hear that tonight, or someone struggling in their marriage like our first guests are going to help us with, you want to go to WATC.tv and like us on Facebook, share this, because we know this message needs to get out. Aren't you excited about our first guest tonight?
I am, yes. And so I just found out you both graduated from college here recently. Is that right?
Last Saturday.
So let's congratulate
Thank
Antonio
you.
and Linda Lee. Tell us a little bit about you guys. Tell us your story.
So, you want to go first?
You go ahead.
So we graduated on May 4th, but our 33rd wedding anniversary was the next day.
Wow.
Oh,
So
awesome.
we've been married. Our friend said we have God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit twice. We have three. So we've been married for 33 years. We have 3 adult children.
Awesome.
And and they're all married. And so we just met in the neighborhood. We started dating. After 3 months, we're back on 3s.
Yeah.
After 3 months, we were married.
Wow.
Okay.
That's quick.
Yeah, that's quick. We tell people we wouldn't advise that at home. Don't do that at home. Yeah. And so we came to know God together.
Yeah.
We always thought we didn't need to be saved because we didn't curse and club and
Drink, smoke or
we didn't
drink.
drink and smoke. We thought we were saved.
Yeah.
And then we had that little accident that happened in '91.
Yes.
Tell us about that
Well,
accident.
the accident, it made me really think about my life. You know, really. Once I was unable to go to work, and my sister invited me to church.
Mm-hmm.
She bought me a Bible.
Yes.
And then I started reading the Bible, and I said, okay, I want to do something further. You know,
Right.
so we went to church, and we walked down on Tuesday night, August 13, 1991,
Yeah.
and gave our life to Christ, and
Yes.
never turned back.
We never.
Never turned back from Christ, but we went through our challenges, and that's why we're here today.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Amen.
Right.
And so, so you had a bad accident, and I was kind of reading over y'all's story, and it sounds like that same year maybe some things happened in the marriage.
Absolutely.
How did you take that coming through? Now, did the accident almost take your life? Was it one of those?
It almost took his arm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it could have taken my life because I could have bled out.
Sure.
Right.
You know, but me being as active as I was, it
And
said
young.
it helped. And I was, young still, but it helped the adrenaline flow. But it could have been worse.
So how did you all work through that, and what was that like?
For me, I was so excited because I visited him in the hospital. And he said, it's time. And I thought he was saying it was time to be dismissed from the hospital. And I was like, good, because I'm tired of coming. But he was like, no, it's time. It's now time to give our life to Christ.
Yes.
And we did. But what happened was no one told us that discipling was supposed to happen. We just thought it was the words and we were going to come back and be changed. We didn't know that there was going to be a struggle between the flesh and the spirit. We didn't even know it was a thing. And so I would honestly say our marriage became more tumultuous and more troubled after salvation.
Right.
Because at that point, now I know the enemy was fighting us.
But in that moment, you're like, it's not supposed to work like
It's not
this.
supposed to be it's supposed to be like the amusement park. We just
right.
No. And so, we went through some challenges. Infidelity, no trust, financial things. And you know how something happens and you say, well, that could have possibly been me. But then there are some things that happen and you say, now I know that was God.
Right.
That's our story of our marriage. For us to still be here 3 decades, that was nothing but God.
Amen.
Right.
Nothing
Amen.
but God.
Amen.
And I think that's such an encouraging story because I think a lot of times in the church, we are under this impression, and maybe you've been in church where the moment you get saved,
Yes.
that it is just all going to be
Yes.
like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And that is not the case.
is not the
That
case.
sometimes, things get worse before they get better, and you have to understand, and it's okay to be understood, because God likes to guide us through that process. So what would you, how did you guys navigate through that? I mean, now you guys have matured, y'all been married, but what are some resources that, I know you talk about this in your book, so tell us about that book, and then also how y'all coach couples to navigate so that they don't have to go through what you went through.
Well, experience is the best teacher. And I always tell people all the time that God allows stuff to happen to us, or for me to be able to deposit into someone else. Sometimes you think you're in a boat by yourself, you're thinking it's just for you, but no, you got to deposit it out. You got to give it out.
Right.
So now that's our story. We're here to try to help troubled marriages that go through different changes, that you're not in a boat by yourself.
Right.
And we also coach through stages. My wife always say our marriage, you know, when you won. And you two, you have your toddlers. You're gonna be a terrible twos. Yeah. So when you get 5 years old, you just not starting the kindergarten. So you're not gonna just throw your kindergarten out because it's your fifth year. Yeah. You know, you're gonna go through that 5-year changes. So your marriages are in stages.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know?
And
I love that.
Our book is called Flatlined Love, because our love flatlined. It literally died. And it was only God that could have resuscitated and brought that breath back into it.
Yes.
But one of the things that he spoke to both of us at different points in time was that, I've saved your marriage, now give it away. Now give it away. So in the beginning, our message in ministering to others was more obligatory because we were so thankful. We're still thankful, but now we love to see others when they say, it's done. That's it. I've been married 2 whole years, and I'm done with this. And that's where the whole concept of throwing away that baby, that 2-year-old. And so I look at marriage as an entity. A wise man told us once, one of our former pastors, he said that you have your wedding, you have the long gown, and then you go on that luxurious honeymoon, and then you come back home and you pull in your driveway and something's waving at you, and you're like, who is that? It's called marriage. Because the wedding isn't the marriage.
Yes.
The honeymoon is not the marriage. The marriage is an entity. So I always tell people, if your marriage is 1 year old, you guys are married, right?
Yes.
How old is your marriage?
It's going to be 5 years old next Thursday.
Your marriage is in kindergarten. Your marriage is supposed to throw the blocks around. Don't throw that marriage out because now it wants to color outside the line. They just started learning how to color.
Right.
And so even at us at 33, I think of me at 33, I was a hot mess. You couldn't tell me anything. I had just started making some real money, and I thought I was all that. So my marriage thinks it's all that, and it needs to be subdued as well. It needs Christ even more so, and community. Our coach, Glenn Brooks, always says, because even though we coach, the coaches need a coach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amen.
He says sustainable growth is impossible without community.
Yes.
And so we have to have people around us, people praying. When we got here, I was like, oh my God, we missed the prayer. She was like, Katlyn was like, we could pray again. Because without that prayer and staying in the word, and my husband would just pop up and say, we need to fast. Like, oh, I wanted that cake. No, right now, God said, even if it's just for today, I'm feeling like we need to turn the plate down.
Yes.
Right.
We know those disciplines work.
Yes.
That's why we give it away.
Yeah.
That's why at any point I will pray. We will be there for others. And when people say it's over, okay, as soon as you finish with your pity party, we're gonna be right here for you.
Yes.
I love that. And I love the title of that book, Flatline.
Flatline Love.
And
there is life after marital death.
Yes.
There is life after marriage. So tell me about those moments. So, you know, when somebody flatlines out here, they put the electrodes on them and they clear and they shock them.
Right.
What was that moment to begin that heartbeat and that rhythm back in your marriage? What you know, there's people and they're at that point and they say, there's no hope.
Right.
There's no hope. What was that for you?
Well, for me, a wise man told me, when you're trying to start over, or you feel like it's just but the grass is, you think the grass is green on the other side.
Yeah.
But he also said it's gonna take that same lawnmower to cut that grass.
That's right.
So why not make it work with the same lawnmower that you already have? So you just got to gas it up.
Yes.
And that's why we're here today now, to try to gas it up, to ignite marriages, intimacy back into the marriage, bring the passion back with that person that you fell in love with.
Right.
You know, like I said in the Bible, of the woman of my youth. So this is the woman of my youth. So ignite that passion back into that, and that energy that you can pour into somebody new, you pour it in here, back into the
So
marriage.
good.
And it's even better because you know each other.
Yes.
Yes.
So getting back kind of to your question, you said what was it like at that point of
Yes.
flatlining? The one thing we try to tell people now that we realized before it flatlined, you're going to have, before a heart attack, you're going to have pain. You may ignore it and think it's gas. From the pain, your blood, first you have your blood pressure goes up. Maybe your cholesterol. You may feel weak. So all that, the thing is going like this first. Before it goes this way, it goes. So you see the telltale signs. The not being communicative,
Right.
not
Yes.
talking, lack of intimacy, segueing into the retreat, the bickering unnecessarily, things of that nature. Those are the little bitty attacks, the little bitty pains that we ignore
Yeah.
before it gets to that major thing. By the time ours literally flatlined, I can honestly say my relationship with God was flatlining as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how those two things go together.
Yes.
And not only you're aware of those pains, but people around you, many times, who you trust are aware of those things
Right.
as well, and they know the symptoms.
Right.
And I'm sure there's probably people who try to speak into your life.
Absolutely.
And now you're doing that for others because you know some of those pains, you know some of those symptoms, and now you're
Absolutely.
doing that for other people, which
Yes.
I love. So you guys host what's called Igniting the Intimacy Retreat. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
It's coming up in October.
It's going to be a powerful retreat because we really, God have laid a burden on our heart to really try to help troubled marriages, even young couples. They don't have to be troubled, but they just lost their way. You can get into the workforce and you just go to work and come home and they just ho hum. But now we try to say it's more to life than that. And that's what we're trying to do. We built a good relationship with where we're going. We're going to Tennessee. We built a close relationship with them. We done a retreat there before with our church. We was over the marriage ministry and we done one there.
Awesome.
So now we trying to bring it back again, and it's not a far commute. So it's you can get off work, drive 2 hours, be home, be there, and just have a blast. So we just trying to let couple know that it's more to life than just going to work, coming back home, and nothing.
And how do people sign up for this retreat?
So the way they sign up for the retreat, they can go to our website.
Okay.
They can call us.
Okay.
I don't know if the website is there, but the website is
Okay.
leelegacyproco.com.
Okay.
And they can give us a call at 678-499-1802.
Awesome. And it's at that website across the bottom of the screen.
Great. And I just want to add this. Back in March, we did a Love on the Front Line boot camp. And during the boot camp, most of the questions that came out of it were dealing with intimacy. We confuse just sex with intimacy. And intimacy could be just us talking. And we're just trying to let them see that without the intimacy, first with Christ,
Yes.
we are fighting a losing battle.
Right.
And without that intimacy with each other, we're lost. So the retreat is going to be workshops, breakout sessions. I'll be with the women. Antonio is going to be with the men. At the breakout sessions, we're going to do a romantic riverboat cruise down the Tennessee River for lunch.
Yeah.
Fun.
We're going to do a fun and games night on that Friday night, and then they have a beautiful room at the Embassy Suite. So we want them to see that that we can rekindle it, and for those that it doesn't need rekindling, you
Yes.
can keep it hot. We're going to stoke the fire.
I love that. Well, we just have a minute or so. I felt like we could talk to y'all all
Yes.
night. It's such a powerful ministry. So I always want somebody to walk away with something practical.
Yes.
So what are 3 keys that you would give if you're tuning in tonight, you're struggling with your marriage and you're saying, look, I'm leaving this girl or I'm leaving this man. What are 3 things you would say to those who are watching tonight struggling and they're at that flatline point?
Okay. First of all, the first thing is do not leave until you've exhausted all resources. Find someone you can speak to that understands marriage, someone that's going to pray for you. And remember to try your best to go back and remember why you asked her or whoever asked and why you said yes. So practicality, sit down and admit to each other there's a problem. And then we have a problem here, something's going on. And then 2, if you agree with me, number 2, seek help.
Yes.
Seek help.
Always
if you don't
accountability.
want to go to your church home, because some people don't, there is Christian counseling, Christian coaching. Seek help. Do not throw it away. So tell each other, acknowledge there's a problem. Seek help.
I love
Great
it.
advice.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank
That has
you.
been Antonio and Linda Lee.
Yes, Lee.
They are amazing, so check them out. And you want to go to that marriage retreat. Now we have Cheryl Boggs with In Your Presence.
Where my help comes from. 'Cause in your presence there's fullness of joy for everyone, everyone. Help me sing. I will lift my eyes to the hills where my help comes from. Help comes from. For in your presence, there's fullness of joy for everyone, everyone. I will lift my eyes to the hills where my help comes from. My help comes from. For in your presence, there's fullness of joy for everyone. I'll be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, and I will stay in your presence forever. I'm gonna stay in your presence forever. In your presence I find peace. In your presence I find joy. In your presence I find love. And in your presence I find comfort. In your presence I believe. In your presence I find love, love. I'm gonna dwell in your presence. I'm gonna dwell in your presence. See, I'm gonna dwell in your presence. In your presence. 'Cause in your presence, I'm gonna dwell there's fullness of joy. And at your right hand, pleasure evermore, evermore. I'm gonna dwell in your presence. I find joy. In your presence I find love, love. In your presence I find comfort. In your presence I believe. In your presence I find love, love. See, I'm gonna dwell in your presence. How many of you feel that way tonight? I'm gonna dwell gonna dwell in your presence, 'cause there's so much love and there's so much joy. There's so much peace in your presence. Hallelujah.
Wow, Cheryl, what incredible worship. I know you all have been so blessed tonight with hearing her amazing worship. And so, Cheryl, tell us a little bit about yourself. We have a few minutes to talk tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started leading worship? Speaking to your mic.
Well, I actually, it was just sort of, you can sing and, you know, they put you up there at first. And then you just realize you have a hunger for God. And worship is a lifestyle. Worship is what I do in my car, in my home. And so when I get in front of people, I do what I do in my private time. So yes, I just started leading worship maybe 10, 15, 20.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Yeah, and so that must have been like when you were 9 years old, right? Just exactly.
Yes.
But I love to hear that. It's the same thing you do in your secret place as you do in public. So tell us about your new CD.
My new CD is entitled My Testimony.
Yes.
And that was one of the songs that I wrote. I wrote 9 out of the 10.
Wow.
And it was just, it's basically, the tagline is, you can find your testimony in my testimony.
Okay,
because it has, I have a friend, it says, in your presence, it talks about some trust. And all of the songs are just very personal, and you can definitely enter into the presence of God. And I talk about trust him when you can't trace him, when you can't track him.
I love that.
And so the whole CD is very intimate, but it has, you know, I put a little bit of things they can bop their head to.
Hey, that's good.
But it's got the word in it.
Hey, I love it. The combination, I love it.
Yes.
So how can people get this CD?
You can download it on all social media platforms, iTunes, Spotify. You can also go to my website, Cheryl Boggs. I'm sure it's on the screen, CherylBoggs.com. You can order it from there as well.
Wonderful. And they can contact you about leading worship as well. You traveling and
Yes.
wonderful.
I would love to come to your church.
Yes. So you guys, we're going to get to hear some more worship from Cheryl, but thank you for being with us tonight. I encourage you, go get that CD, go download that music, go and just invite her to your church. Just do all of it and go to her website, and we're looking forward to hearing some more worship from you tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In spirit and in truth, while I'm bowing down at your feet, my soul, it finds relief. Jesus, I worship. Oh, I worship you. I worship you. In spirit and in truth, while I'm bowing down. everything I do. I worship you, Lord. I worship you. I will worship you, yeah, in spirit and in truth, while I'm bowing down at your feet. My soul, I find so much relief. Jesus, I worship. Oh, I worship you. Yes, I do. Everything I do.
What anointed and great worship by Cheryl tonight, and you can worship him wherever you're watching, in any environment, in any situation. You can worship him in the good times and in bad, and I find it's even better if I worship him when it's bad, so I can get out. Well, I'm excited about this next guest. He is a pastor, he is a father. He brought one of his sons with him here tonight, and he is the president of Global Servants. And so if you would, please welcome Travis tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you.
We're excited to have you, Travis, and we're also excited to hear more about your church and Global Servants. And we actually have a video that you guys are going to get to see tonight that explains a little bit about Global Servants before we hear more from Travis.
Great. Wonderful.
John Wesley said, "Do all the good you can to all the people you can for as long as you can." We believe in that at Global Servants. We're attempting to use every resource made available to us by generous churches, people, and through God's grace to do all the good we can on multiple continents and in many countries, particularly our girls' homes in West Africa and in Thailand. Thank you for what you've done, all that you've given to help us save little girls for big destinies.
Hi, I'm Travis Rutland. I'm the president of Global Servants, and we're excited about this next season of ministry as we continue to expand and grow what we've done around the world. We've had a ministry in West Africa since 1981. We have built schools, we have a girls' home, and we have built more than 35 churches in 5 countries in West Africa, and we're not finished yet. We're currently focusing on village hygiene stations to help rural villages combat diseases like typhoid. In addition to that, we are excited to continue to expand and do more with our girls' home in Thailand. House of Grace Thailand is growing, House of Grace Ghana is growing, and we're excited to do this, and we could not do it without your support and your partnership.
Thank you for your generosity.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Wow, what a powerful video. I know that you guys were blessed by that. Travis, what an awesome work you guys are doing through Global Servants.
Yeah.
Tell us, how did Global Servants come about? For those who have never heard of Global Servants, how did that come about?
Sure. My dad started Global Servants more than 40 years ago now. My dad is Dr. Mark Rutland. He's traveled and spoken all over the world. Our base of operations was here in Atlanta for a long time, so a lot of folks in the Atlanta area are probably familiar with him and his ministry. Mm-hmm. And so he started that ministry more than 40 years ago as just a tool for him to go and preach at different churches. And out of that, God really birthed in him the idea of beginning to do more and more work overseas. Initially, that really wasn't what it was. It was simply a nonprofit, sort of an LLC that he formed in order to help him travel from church to church and speak. And then God kind of birthed this overseas mission inside of him. And so we've done works in countries like Mexico and Peru and India where we no longer have work, but we've done things there in addition to where we still have a base of operations, which is West Africa. We're in about 5 different countries in West Africa. Awesome. And then a large girls' home in Thailand, in northern Thailand, in Chiang Rai. So that's how it came about. And about a year ago, my dad decided he wanted to continue to do the fun stuff. We were talking about this before the show, that he wants to continue to preach and travel and write books and do all of that kind of thing. But he was looking to step back from the day-to-day operations of Global Servants. And so the board at Global Servants asked me to do that. I've worked at Global Servants since 1997. Wow. And so they asked me to step in and become the president. I'm excited about new possibilities and the continued expansion of the work and what we're doing where we're at, and also our hope and our belief is new countries that God's going to call us to as well. So we're excited about all that has happened, but even more excited about the future.
Absolutely.
So under your leadership, as you've kind of now taken the reins and you're looking towards the future, what are some of those projects and what kind of ministry do you see progressing in, and what, kind of what's next for the ministry?
Absolutely. This is what I've said for a long time. For a long time, people invested and partnered with Global Servants because of who we were, because who we were was my dad. My dad was Global Servants. And so I think that whenever you take over for someone that's been incredibly successful, which my dad has been, and I have yet to achieve that level of success. So when you take that over, I think you have to figure out, okay, what is my gift? What's my calling? What does God want me to do? And I felt like what God was saying was that as we launch into this next phase of leadership, it's not going to be about who we are. It's going to be about what we do, because what we do is really, really good stuff. So we're expanding our work in West Africa, primarily our girls' home. We just actually are breaking ground on a new dorm there that's going to increase our capacity from about 11 girls to about 30 girls.
Wow.
So we'll be able to take more girls in, educate them, provide for them, and give them a destiny and a future. We're looking to expand our work in Thailand. We have a much larger complex in Thailand. Close to 100 girls live on our home in Thailand. About somewhere around 85 girls on the campus. Then that doesn't include girls that are in university and college throughout Southeast Asia. But without building any more buildings, we actually have capacity for about 100 girls. So we can actually expand the work there in Thailand without having to build any new buildings or new beds or anything else. So we're looking to grow that, in addition to a lot of the things that we do in West Africa, just because it's just the poverty in West Africa is just so grinding and so overwhelming. So we do a lot of work in rural villages. We're talking about places with no electricity, no running water. We do a lot of things like that to combat disease and things in these more rural villages as well. So I'm excited about where we're headed.
Yes, absolutely. And for those who have never heard of Global Servants before, again, tell us why it is so important to get these girls into these homes.
Absolutely.
Because I think people, you may be watching tonight and you may say, oh, that's awesome, they're helping girls, but to understand the gravity of what that truly means.
That's right. So a girls' home, for example, in Thailand, so the needs are different, but a girls' home in Thailand is radically different than what you would think of a girls' home or an orphanage here in America. The reason that we started the girls' home in Thailand in particular is because of the epidemic of human trafficking. In particular, the idea of forced prostitution. So the girls that are at our girls' home in Thailand, they are not Thais. They're not Thai citizens. They are indigenous people groups. There's indigenous people groups there in Southeast Asia, in the Golden Triangle there, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand. The majority of the girls that come to House of Grace are from the tribe that's called Akas. But there's also a tribe called Hmong and different ones like that in that area. But primarily the girls in Thailand are Akas. So what happens is the brothel owners in Bangkok prey on these indigenous people group, these hill tribe people that live in northern Thailand. So they go up there and literally buy the girls from their parents or from their relatives and take them back down into brothels in Bangkok and into a life of forced prostitution. And we're not talking about buying girls at 18. We're talking about buying girls at like 9 and 10 and 11. So the horrors that would be visited on them when they're little bitty girls is just, you can't even comprehend how awful it would be. So what we do is we're preventative work. We go to the villages, we go to the parents, and we say, look, let your girls come to House of Grace. We don't buy the girls at all. We convince the parents, let them come to House of Grace. We're going to feed them. We're going to educate them. We're going to take care of them, and it's going to give them a destiny. We actually, in doing that, appeal to the financial side of the parents. We say, look, if you sell the little girl, it's a one-time monetary value. But if you allow the girl to come to House of Grace and we take care of her and she goes to university and becomes a lawyer or a doctor, she's going to be able to provide for you for the rest of your life. She's going to be able to send a lot more money home. And so we do that, and we have a tremendous reputation with the Aka people in the hill tribes of northern Thailand, and the girls come, and it's a wonderful preventative work that gives them a destiny and a purpose and an ability to achieve the things that God created them to achieve.
That is incredible. How long have you all been doing this work in Thailand?
The work in Thailand for slightly more than 30 years.
Okay.
My dad began the work with just a handful of girls in a rented facility in the mid 80s. So it's expanded. This wasn't something that, this kind of thing doesn't happen overnight. It took a long time.
Yes.
A very cool thing about it is the first girl that we ever took in, her name was Judapan. And the first girl that we ever took in when we had those rented facilities, she's now the national director for House of Grace. She runs the entire operation.
Wow.
She's gotten married. She has 2 sons of her own. She lives at House of Grace. And the first girl we ever took in now runs the entire thing in Thailand. And we have graduates that are doctors and lawyers and teachers. And it's just amazing to, it's very humbling to be able to play a small part in seeing other people's dreams and purpose achieved. And so it makes you feel like you've helped a little bit.
Yes, and you all help because those girls are considered stateless.
Yes.
So they do not have a citizenship. And you were telling us before the show,
That's right.
Y'all have one girl. Tell us about that
That's
story.
right. So it's an interesting thing in Thailand, the rules, but because these girls are Hill tribe, they're indigenous people groups. They're not Thais. So they when they're born, even though they're born in Thailand, they don't have Thai citizenship. They don't speak Thai as a language. So they are considered non-citizens. They're stateless. So it's very difficult in Thailand if you're not a citizen to be able to do a lot of the things, get certain jobs, have certain careers, graduate from college, those kinds of things. So in addition to all that we do for the girls, what we also do is help them get their citizenship, which can take years and years. It's the red tape and the bureaucracy. It can just take a long time. So we begin when the girls come to House of Grace of actually working through that process. So I was telling you before the show, we have a young lady who just graduated from college. Just a few years ago, the Thai government passed a rule that said you could attend college without being a citizen. But if you weren't a citizen, you couldn't receive your diploma and you couldn't get certain types of jobs once you graduated. So even though you'd taken all the classes and done all the work, you couldn't get a diploma, and there were certain jobs you couldn't get. So just within weeks of her graduation, we got word that her citizenship had been approved. So this process of years and years had all kind of dovetailed together. The same within weeks of her earning a diploma, she was granted citizenship. She could get her diploma. She could go into the field of study she wanted to do. And it's just, it's very cool to see how God works and brings all those things together. So it was a wonderful story.
That is awesome. Really changing generations to come. Because if you change one person.
That's right. You affect her children and her grandchildren and all those things.
Exactly.
100%.
When you bring these girls in, how open are they to the gospel? Have they ever heard it before? Do they hold services there?
Absolutely.
What's that like?
Yeah, this is one of the best things about House of Grace. So when the girls come to House of Grace, none of them are Christians. When they leave, all of them are Christians. But it is simply them seeing Christ's love in action.
Yeah.
I think that too often in our walk, in our testimony, in our evangelism, we overcomplicate things. I think you show people, I love you and Jesus loves you. And you show them that over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
I think that's the key. And so that's what happens. We show those girls that we provide for them, we care for them, we educate them, we feed them. We have services on the campus. They also attend a church on Sundays. And over time, there's no pressure. There's no you have to become a Christian. But over time, they see these people will see what we're doing, what the other girls around them are doing, and yeah, it's 0% Christians when they arrive and 100% Christians when they graduate. So it's very gratifying.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So now I know that there are some people who are hearing this tonight and they're saying, wow, that's incredible. How can I help out? How can those who are tuning in tonight who want to plug in, whether to volunteer or to give to Global Servants?
Sure. Well, all the girls in Thailand and our girls in West Africa have a sponsor. So you can sponsor a girl if you want to. You can go to the website. You can find more details about that. You can call our toll-free number. There's all kind of things you can do. There's all kind of ways you can partner with us. Maybe somebody would like to go on a mission trip and see it in person. Go to West Africa, go to Thailand, be part of House of Grace, become a sponsor. There's all kinds of materials available, books my dad has written, all kinds of things. So there's a lot of different options and opportunities for people to partner with us, and we would love to help them find the thing that works best for them. But sponsorship might be a great thing. All the girls have a sponsor, have an American sponsor.
Awesome, and you can globalservants.org. We just showed that on the screen, so make sure you check that out.
Tell me about your short-term missions opportunities. Is that yearly? Does that change? Is that seasonal?
Yeah, it's throughout the year, and
Okay.
it's primarily to those two places. So I'm actually taking a group from my church. I pastor a church in Bethlehem, and so I'm taking a group from my church to Ghana this year.
Awesome.
So we're headed to Ghana in June, but there are a handful of trips that go to both places every year, and they can contact the office and talk to our people there and get more information about it. But we love to show people. This is, again, talking about what we do.
Yeah.
My feeling is when you see what Global Servants is doing around the world, you're going to want to get involved, because we really do a tremendous ministry. We really help people. In West Africa, for example, we talked about Thailand. The girls that are being rescued, it's because of human trafficking. It's not really like that in West Africa as much as it is all the girls in West Africa are orphans, 100% orphans. So the difference in the quality of life. Just West Africa, Africa in general is such a difficult place. And so we're rescuing those girls. They're all orphans. We bring them to the House of Grace there in Ghana. We educate them again. We provide for them, feed them, take care of them. So we're meeting the needs, trying to understand what the needs are in various countries, as opposed to us dictating the terms. We try to go to places and say, how can we serve you, global servants? How can we serve you? How can we, what does this community need? What does this country need? And we try and find that. And I think too often what happens is we decide everybody needs the same thing. You know, one size fits all. And we're not really doing that. We're trying to ascertain how can we serve, how can we help, and then doing that case by case.
I love that, and I think that that's exactly how Jesus was. He came and he met the needs of the area that he went to. So I'm so excited that we're not done talking to you.
Good.
That we have more to hear about Global Servants and all Travis and the organization is doing. But right now we actually have a member of Global Servants who's going to give us some piano, Mr. Timothy Parsons, playing Majesty and As a Deer.
was amazing.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Timothy. And we will be hearing from Timothy soon here on set, and we're back now. And so we want to just continue the conversation. And so not only are you the president of Global Servants, but you're also a father and a pastor. That sounds like a whole lot. How do you manage all this?
Yes, I'm like the pastoral version of James Brown. I'm the hardest working man in show business.
Yeah.
I like that, yes.
So yes, now in addition to serving as the president of Global Servants, I also pastor a Restoration Church in Bethlehem, Georgia. So we're between Atlanta and Athens. If you take University Parkway, like you're going to UGA, we're out in that area. So I've been at Restoration Church for about 4.5 years now, and it's going great. I love what I do at Global Servants, and I love the legacy that I'm trying to continue for my dad and everything like that. But my passion is pastoring. I love being involved in people's lives, trying to help them. I love just loving on the community, just all of those things that are associated with pastoring. So that's definitely my passion, and I really enjoy it. So yeah.
And so with your church, I'm sure that as the president of Global Servants, I'm sure that your church reflects an outreach focus. So tell me about some of the outreaches your church does.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. Yeah, we do. We have both local and global outreach. So we tithe on the tithe. I think that's always important. As I grew up as the son of a pastor, of course, so I grew up understanding and being really passionate about the tithe, because I always felt like, hey, if people don't tithe, I don't get any Christmas presents.
Right. Yes, there was something
So
there.
I was always passionate about the tithe, and as I've become a pastor, I think that's important. So we give 10% of our budget away. So we're involved with overseas work. Of course, we support Global Servants, but we do all kinds of stuff we support an orphanage in Bulgaria. We support work in South Africa. We do things all over the world. We're also involved in a lot of local outreach. We do a number of things in the Winder Housing Authority. And we're also involved with a ministry called the Logan House, which is transitional housing for women that are at difficult moments in their life, or maybe they've had a difficult living situation with possibly an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband. So we provide transitional housing for women and children there that allows them to sort of get back on their feet and have an address and find a job and everything. And so we support them. We don't pay for that 100%, but we support them. And then we also support a ministry, again, in Loganville, Georgia, called the Food Basket, which provides just free food to needy families, and they can come in there once a month, and it's huge. It's got all kinds of stuff, and it's not just cereal bars. It's like it's meat and milk and all kinds of things. It's called the Food Basket in Loganville, and we're definitely involved both locally and overseas in supporting other ministries.
That is fascinating, and and we kind of heard earlier some of the needs in Thailand and West Africa.
Yeah.
As you're in Bethlehem, Georgia, what are the needs of those from that area, not only that area, but here in America, what are you finding the needs of the people are, and how are you addressing those things here? Sure.
Here's the thing: you've always got some amount of people that are needy from a financial aspect.
Yeah.
No matter, let's be honest, we're one of, if not the richest country in the world. But there's still poverty in America. The three of us could get in a car and drive to downtown Atlanta, and you're going to see that. So there is always that element of need. But I think that something that a lot of people overlook is the spiritual need. I think that so often you've got these people, they live in $500,000 mansions. Mom is a lawyer, dad is a physician. They have great jobs, they make tons of money, but inside of both of them, they're broken. And the marriage is broken, and the family is broken. Those people have just as significant needs.
Yes.
It's not as obvious as the person that lives in a tent underneath a bridge in downtown Atlanta. But that family, those people, those kids, they have this, not the same needs, but just as significant of a need.
Yes.
And so that's really what we've tried to do in our community, is really be a community church. We're about the people around us. Bethlehem is growing. There's a lot of new neighborhoods. There's a lot of there's a Target and a shopping center and movies and all the rest of it that's going in there. And because of that, there's a lot of new housing as well. And we're trying to, I think it's much easier to see a financial need than it is to see a spiritual need.
Yes.
And so we're trying to meet those and try and say, hey, come to Restoration Church and you can find, hope for the hurting. You can find healing. You can see chains broken. You can see marriages restored. You can see families rebuilt. Those are the kinds of things that we're investing in. Yes. I think, or at least I'd like to hope to believe that most churches do that. But that is something that is a passion of ours, is meeting obvious needs, but also making sure that you are helping families, people that desperately need a touch of the Holy Spirit in their life. They're broken spiritually, and they need God.
And the need of the world is Jesus.
Yeah. That's right.
That is the need we share with everyone around the world.
Absolutely.
Yes, well, it has been such a great first part of the show, and I hope that you will check out Restoration Church in Bethlehem, Global Servants, and Antonio and Linda Lee. So grab a snack, come on back, share with your friends. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. I hope that you got that snack and you are back. And I know tonight's program has been a blessing to you all. If you missed any of tonight's program, make sure you go to WATC.tv. You can watch it on YouTube, Facebook, or you can tune back in to watch the rest of the show on your local networks at 7 a.m. in the morning Eastern Standard Time. But tonight, we've just had an incredible program, and I'm excited to kick off this second half of the show with some more worship by Cheryl Boggs.
Here are my wounds and here are my fractures. I lay them down at the cross, for you were wounded for my transgressions. Your blood was shed for my loss, so I pour my soul out to you, and you pour your soul out to me. And you pour your soul exchange at the cross, I believe is mighty to save even me. Here are my fractures. I see them healed at the cross. For you were wounded for my transgressions, and the blood you shed was for my loss. And so every day I pour my soul out to you, and you pour your soul out to me. And the exchange at the cross, I believe, is mighty to save. Ooh, mighty to save. Thank you, Jesus. You're mighty to save somebody like me, like you. His grace is mighty to save.
Well, it's been a great night. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And we're back here on the set, and we're excited about our next guest here, Timothy Parsons, who is also with the wonderful organization of Global Servants. I said it right that time.
Yes.
And so we're so thankful to have Timothy with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So who is Tim Parsons? Kind of introduce yourself. We saw you playing the piano. You work for this wonderful organization now. Who are you? Kind of tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm just a vessel from heaven. Really, at the end of the day, you know, I was adopted from Cambodia, adopted by an American family. My wonderful mom and dad, if you're watching, Janny and Edward Parsons. And happy Mother's Day. She's the best mother. She adopted me, and it was just amazing with that. And so, you know, one of my first languages was music. My mom knew that I wasn't able to speak English when I arrived in Cambodia, from Cambodia when I was 4. So she got me piano lessons right away. And so that was my first way of communicating to the world, was through the piano. And so I was classically trained a little bit, but really I credit everything to the Lord for everything that's happening when it comes to composition, writing, and composing. And so that's really the heartbeat of why I'm doing what I do. Is I love to share with people my music, but also share with people the purpose that God gives every single one of us. And that is, you know, actually I always thought I'd be the Asian version of Michael W. Smith.
I love it.
And, you know, while I was in college, God really called me and said, you know, I'm going to call you to true worship. And true worship is not just only on the stage, but it's off the stage.
Come on.
And that is, he led me to the verse of James 1:27, which is true religion is to look after the orphans and widows. And of course, my heart has always been for the orphans and widows, hence what my whole past is about. But God guided me through those steps of what true religion is. And while in college, I had the honor and privilege to start an outreach program, and that grew from 3 to 300 students, and a student-led program helping out the homeless. And then from there, God just opened my eyes to the missions world, and now I'm honored to be able to work for Global Servants, and I'm just really privileged, and just really under the leadership of Travis and our executive director, Tyler. They do a great job leading the organization. And of course, you know, with, you know, getting to know, of course, the founder and listening to his all the different things he shares along the way. It's an extra bonus too.
Oh, yes.
So, but it's wonderful. It really is.
Fantastic.
That is awesome. And so how did you get adopted? You're on the streets of Cambodia. How did you get adopted and connected with your awesome parents?
So I have to thank my aunt. My mom was not able to bear a child, and so I have to thank my older brother. He passed the test. He was adopted 40 minutes away from where they lived in Dover, Delaware.
Okay.
So because he passed the test, then they were like, okay, we can adopt somebody 4,000 miles away.
Right.
But that's how I was adopted. My aunt just found a flyer in the hallways in Hawaii, called my mom and said, hey, this organization does adoption, you should consider. And really, I love one of the quotes I heard in the past, that I was adopted, but I also was chosen. You know, and, you know, at the end of the day, one of the messages I love to share with people is that though I might be adopted physically, you can also be adopted spiritually.
Yes.
And it was through my parents' relationship and their reflection of God's love that they really showed me who Jesus was in the flesh, because they adopted me without expecting anything in return. And that's what Christ's message is about. You know, Christ's message is he died on the cross without anything in return except just to accept the truth and the freedom that he gives to every single person in the world.
That's
Awesome. Beautiful story. And her dad actually has a joke to where these two kids are talking, and one was born to a family and the other one was adopted. And they were making fun of the one who was adopted. And he says, look, he said, that your parents didn't have a choice. He said, but I was chosen. and that is such a beautiful picture of the gospel, and to be chosen and to forward that, and now to work with global servants and working in you know, for orphans and widows and the great works around the world. How did you get partnered up with this organization, and what are you passionate about as you look towards what's coming next for the ministry?
Well, so I was part of the training class with Dr. Mark Rutland of National Institute of Christian Leadership. And there we became acquaintances and friends through that leadership class, which, by the way, if anybody wants to visit, is www.thenicl to get more information about that.com. And through that, we became acquaintances, and then there was an opening available, and of course, I took it right away, and I was one of the candidates, and I was just really honored when they called me back, and Travis said, you know, would you like to partner? Would you like to join our team? And it was just really amazing. And so I have the privilege and honor to, you know, build church relationships and speak with our wonderful donors that really are really they're the skeleton. Without them, we could not do what we do.
Yes.
And so I really love being able to hear stories and why people have a passion to partner with what we do.
Amen.
And I love that, because everybody has a mission and everybody has a purpose, whether some it's to lead organizations, some it's to give to organizations. Maybe some of you tonight are going to say, I'm going to partner with Global Servants. You might be talking to Timothy. But there are also those who have just different callings. And your parents were called to adopt, and there are those who are called to partner with Global Servants and different things. What would you say to somebody tonight who's struggling to find their fit and where they belong in the kingdom of God as far as the role that they're called to play?
That's a really excellent question. What I shared even at Southeast University, and that is to use what God has given you where you are at. A lot of people, in education is great, having a lot of money is great, but at the end of the day, your heart, remember what the Bible says, it's all just a clinging clong of noise if it's not without love.
Yes.
And you have to have that heartbeat. You have to understand who you are in Christ. Find the identity of who you are in Christ, and Christ will share with you the talents that he has entrusted you with. Here's something really important. I believe every single one of us, whether you're sitting on the sofa watching this television or you watch it later, every single one of us has a gift and talent. And God calls us to be good stewards with those gifts and talents. And many people think, well, I'll do it once I become a millionaire, or I'll do it once I have a doctor's degree. And God is saying, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when I was at the college, it costs $0 to do that outreach with the homeless shelter.
Yeah.
$0. And so I want to encourage you, if you're a student and you're, you know, busy doing all these things with games and beaches and stuff, that's wonderful. But get to the heartbeat of what you're supposed to do in life and go and chase after it. Because I'll tell you, all those other things will always be available. But the mission and calling, that's something that you want to take advantage of and go as hard as you can and fast as you can with.
I love that.
And you just said something right there, Timothy. You know, a lot of people go to school to become.
That's right.
To get the job so they can be a pastor or whatever they were studying. But you were becoming that person while you were there. You didn't wait on a degree. You didn't wait for a title. But you started right there in school with no money.
No money.
And so despite the opposition, despite not having funds, you decided that you were still going to do it. What's your encouragement? Because we were in college as well, and people were waiting to get to a place in life before they begin serving the Lord. How would you encourage them
Yeah, that's a great question. The number one thing I would encourage is to find your place, is to find who you are in Christ. And really, honestly, it's to make sure you don't make things complicated. The world we live in, they want everything has to be an exact square, and everything has to be everything in line. And God does call us to be a planner. Yes, he does call us, but he also calls us to be a doer. And he wants us to move forward and don't just sit back and go, well, I want to wait for something. Move forward, and once that door shuts, go to the right and move forward to the right. And if that door shuts, keep going. Don't just wait and go, well, once someone writes me a $20,000 check, I'll do goodness into the world. And so that's something really important. And really, look at me. I always say God uses the foolish things to despise the wise. You know, here I am from the streets of Cambodia, and now I'm able to do a 180 and go back to those very same streets in the same region of Southeast Asia to help the poor and help and rescue, and more importantly, give people a eternal life opportunity by sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Powerful.
I love that. I love that. And I love that, speaking of full circle moments, I love that your life was changed because a family adopted you. I feel like there are some of you tonight, you've been on the fence about adoption. And I know we're talking about global servants, but I feel this really strongly, that you're on the fence about adoption. What would you say to that person who's on the fence about adoption? There are so many, I don't know if I can do it, but you're a testament that truly changed your life.
You know, I answer it this way. The way I answer to my own mom, my adopted mom, which I, of course, call my mom. And my mom always says, man, Tim, you're out doing all these different things, traveling. I've had the honor and privilege to travel to 30 nations in the world and really help and share what God's love is. And my mom asked me, man, I wish I could do those things. And I go, you are. You took that decision to adopt me. And I'm arm of who you are, and I get to share your love, and I get to share your principles that you taught me to everyone I meet. So if you're on the fence of adopting, just know that is going to cause a generational effect, not just to the person you adopted, but the person that you reach out and touch the lives of.
I love that. If you don't have a tissue right now, then I don't know you if you have a heart. I'm just kidding.
That is so good and so true, and I love your testimony, and God has used you in many parts of the world. One of the ministries you have is your music. Tell us about your music, and your wife also, I believe, plays. I can't remember what she plays, but
the violin,
and it goes perfectly. It pairs nicely.
She's a wonderful singer.
Awesome. And so, tell me how you guys met and how you started this music ministry together.
Well, we met at an airport. And so,
that's right.
And so God just put our hearts together, and we met at an airport. She saw my passion for missions and for helping the lost. I mean, helping those that the poor of those natures. And we decided we're going to join together and put our gifts together and do some music together. And it's called Timbella. You can visit at www.timbella.com, TIMBELLA.com. And so our music is there, and we're just so passionate to share God's music there. We just released our latest called He's Alive, which is a beautiful album, and it's just really, it's all original selections, and to share God's music through the piano and through the violin and singing. So,
and that's really timbella.com right there on the screen, so you can check it out. That is awesome. And haven't y'all just enjoyed Timothy's story tonight? We have just been encouraged through adoption and through the opportunity to hear more about global servants. So for about 30 seconds, what would you say to those? How can you use music to the glory of God? You know, the enemy can take music and use it in a different way. How can you use music to the glory of God? 30 seconds.
I'm so glad you asked me. You know, I was just going to that piano, and really, there have been times when it's just been so hard to go through. There was those mountains, and I couldn't say a prayer to God. And it was through the music that I was able to talk to God and go, God, this is where I'm at. And I'm going to just play it and share my heart through music.
Awesome. Well, I love that. And speaking of talking to God in the way you can, we do this tonight so that you can have an encounter with God. And we have people standing by in our prayer room who want to pray with you and to come in agreement for your needs. And maybe you need to be adopted by God. They want to talk to you tonight. So now let's hear from the prayer room what they have to say.
God bless you. Welcome to Atlanta Live. We thank that everyone's been calling in. It's been a powerful night. We have awesome men and women of God that's praying for each and every last individual that's called in. We even had a salvation tonight. So we thank God for that. My name is Elder Cornelius from World Life Church. God bless you. I want to tell you, encourage those to just keep calling in and seeking the Lord for your life, because this is a powerful ministry and God loves you. And he thank you for he appreciates you even calling in and seeking God. And I really thank each and every last one of you that's calling in to Atlanta Live. And I thank you for all the awesome ministers that's been on the program tonight. This is a powerful ministry. I pray that you keep supporting those. But I want to say this to you in dealing with salvation, where it declares in Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10, it says, if thou confess with thy mouth and believe in thy heart that the Lord Jesus has been thou art believe in thy heart that raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. So I want to encourage you tonight. If you believe by faith and understand that God has saved you, I tell you what, you are part of an awesome kingdom. God bless you. Now back to the studio.
Well, that is so powerful. This is why we do what we do. So call that number, 770-300-9828. And I love to hear that there has already been one salvation. Amen. You can never put a price tag on the fact that somebody's life has just crossed from death into life. So keep calling in. It says in the Bible, where two or more come in agreement, it shall be done. And so we are there, this prayer line, again, 770-300-9828. They're there to come in agreement. Maybe you need healing. Maybe you need a financial breakthrough. Maybe there is something that God is calling you to that's going to put you in an uncomfortable territory, uncomfortable place, but you know God's calling you to it, and you just need somebody to pray that you have courage. Call that number tonight. We are so thrilled to see what God's going to do in your life.
Amen. Absolutely. So we're back on set here with Timothy Parsons. And Tim, if I have a next question for you, is your role in Global Servants, kind of what are the next projects, or what are some things coming up for you in the ministry there?
Well, as Travis was saying, there's a lot of great things in development with Global Servants. We're currently expanding our House of Grace Girls Home in Ghana. Currently, we have about 10, 11 girls, and we're looking to actually triple it to 30 based on the success of having about 120 girls in Thailand that going to kind of use that same kind of pattern in Ghana. So we're really excited about that, and so people can partner and join us. We have some major expansions. We're expanding the girls' home, tripling the size. It's going to be so beautiful. We're so grateful for the partners that have already joined along and helped us with the other establishments that have been in Ghana and also in Thailand. The other project, we're doing some major renovations in Thailand. So the girls' home that's been there for many years, we're just doing major renovations there. So you can contact our office, let us know where your hearts and desires are. If you're a builder or a contractor and that's what you want to get involved in, I'll share with you some of the building projects. Or if you're big in education, we're one of the 5 top leading organizations in Ghana for the STEM program, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it's amazing. I mean, the last time our president, Travis, was there, they were able to do some TV outlets. They all covered the news on the latest initiatives. Oral Roberts University partnered with us and gave us the microscopes, and other major partners came in, and so we're very excited about that. So thank you for letting me share some of the things that Global Servants is doing in our specific projects.
Awesome. Fantastic.
I love that, and we saw globalservants.org on the bottom of the screen, so you can go check that out. And one thing that I do want to bring attention to, because I know that you guys, there are so many opportunities through your organization to serve and get plugged in. Tell us about, you mentioned it briefly a few moments ago. Tell us about NICL and how that people can get involved in NICL. What is that?
NICL, the National Institute of Christian Leadership. Dr. Mark Rutland is the executive director of that institution. Actually, recently, we're so excited that we have partnered with many colleges that are actually partnered with us, where part of the class goes toward part of a master's degree program, up to 12 credits. And so you can contact us and get more information about the specific colleges that are partnered with us, but it's a training ground for pastors that don't know all the ins and outs of business side. So a lot of pastors are called to preach the word and share the word, but they're not equipped with the business side. So NICL gives that equipment and gives the resources and really informs pastors those different decisions from hiring and firing to managing board to how to do fundraising, how to do major building projects, all the way to how to work with your worship director. So it's really amazing. So it's wonderful if you've never heard of it.
And they can find more about that at nicl.org.
TheNICL.com.
TheNICL.com. That is amazing. Timothy, we have so enjoyed you tonight. Haven't we had just an awesome
we've had a great show all around from beginning to end.
Yes, and now we get to hear one final worship song, and I want to encourage you guys, after you hear this song, make sure you share this message and you go to globalservants.org. Now we have Cheryl Boggs with Everything's Gonna Be All Right.
Yes, everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Don't you worry. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Your back's up against the wall. All your money's gone. No matter what you're going through, let me encourage you. Just keep the faith. God will work it out for you. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. You're right. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Your heart's been broken. There's trouble all around. Got you wondering how you're gonna make it out. But let me encourage you. Let me encourage you. God, He's gonna work it out for you. 'Cause weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning light. Just when you think all hope is lost, God steps in and works it out. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Don't you worry. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Come to encourage you tonight. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. They used to say it. I got a feeling that everything's gonna be all right. Said I got a feeling everything is gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Don't you worry and don't you cry. God said He would make everything all right. You just gotta believe that. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all. It's gonna be all. It's gonna be all right. We come to encourage you tonight that everything, all things work together for good to them that love God.